Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Schul, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Vegan Prince, the Warrior King, the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother from Ghana, West Africa, dropping the wisdomatic truth bombs here in Melbourne, Australia. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your momos, drop us the comments, let us know what it is. Stay up to date by clicking the bell if you want to stay informed about what's going on in this crazy Euclidean meat space. You want to have a smile, a laugh, a giggle, but you also want to have your minds illuminated with the wisdomatic truth bombs of yours truly. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about what all the esoteric momos have been talking about lately. The Georgia Guidestones. So on Wednesday morning at 4 a.m., the Georgia Guidestones were bombed. At least one of the pillars was completely destroyed. And you're probably wondering, what the fuck are the Georgia Guidestones? Look, mate, I don't know anything about Georgia Guidestones. Apparently they have something to do with conspiracy theories, and I don't buy any of that, mate. I just watch the news and I do as I'm told. Well, Momo, you might want to know what the Georgia Guidestones are about. And you know, one of the reasons I would argue that this thing was bombed, I think it's pretty obvious, was to bring light to the fact that there is an agenda at hand. Because whereas we've been seeing a lot of things, take place over the last few years, some people are still in the mindset that this stuff is not planned, that there is an agenda, that there isn't some kind of great reset, even though there's a website, even though you have many of these rulers, not leaders, these dark figures like Klaus Schwab openly speaking about an agenda to bring about this great reset, take away the rights of the nations, of individuals, and so forth. Clearly, we have the Agenda 2130 documents and so forth. But there are a lot of people that are still in the mindset that this stuff is all conspiracy theory, that there isn't a new world order, even though since 2001, this has openly been referred to by many of these leaders. And one of the things that is coming to light now, even more so after the destruction of the Georgia Guidestones, is that, oh, wait a sec, people looking into this, what? Oh, it's written right there in stone. There really is an agenda in order to depopulate the planet. And no doubt the bomber, which, by the way, I'm not glorifying, all right? I'm not saying that this guy was a great person for what he did. It's pretty cool, though, the fact that it's been destroyed. However, it's horrible, the fact that people would destroy private property. That is very bad. That is very wrong. I want to make that very clear. But it's kind of cool that it was the Georgia Guidestones, right? And that a lot of people are taking note of this shit, right? But yeah, I think that was definitely the effort to bring attention to what the Georgia Guidestones are about. And what are they? Well, never fear. The Chocolate Nubian is about to illuminate your minds with wisdom in regards to what this stuff is all about. So let's get the facts out of the way. First of all, the Georgia Guidestones are a 19-foot granite monolith inscribed with 10 messages. Esoteric messages. Actually, it's not that esoteric. It's actually written right there in stone. You can actually go and have a look at it, all right? They're etched into stone in 8 different languages, including Arabic, Chinese, English, Hebrew, Swahili. Oh, even my people are there. No, I'm not from the Swahili tribe. The Chocolate Nubian is from Ghana, West Africa. We got Russian. Yes, the Russians, we are part of the New World Order as well. We want to make sure that you know what you must do to bring about the New World Order. Even Hindi. Thank you very much. Please reduce the population again. And Spanish. Wow, a lot of different languages are on this stone. The messages known as the guiding principles advocate for the population reduction control, environmentalism, and internationalism. All big words, they sound beautiful, but we're really going to get to the heart of what these things speak about. All right, so let's speak about some of the guiding principles of the Georgia Guidestones, right? Because a lot of people are like, yeah, so what, man? These things sound really beautiful. I don't have a problem with the Georgia Guidestones. All right, well, see, these are some of the guiding principles. Okay, so number 1, they want to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Well, who knows what the figure is for perpetual balance with nature? Who says it has to be 500 million? Why can't it be 500 billion? Has someone done the math and figured out how many humans need to be around in order for us to have perfect balance? You see, people that have that mindset tend to have a limiting belief system. These are the the utilitarians that think that, well, we need to justify violence because, look, it's not possible. They always say it's necessary. Necessity is the plea of every tyrant. All right, number 2, guide reproduction wisely. They want to guide the reproduction, right? So somehow some small group of people get to control how many babies you have, all right? Nope, you've had too many babies. No, you're only allowed to have 3 children. Or now it's 2 children. Now it's 1. No, we've hit the quota. You're not allowed to have any children. You're not allowed to have sex. Or, you got to get your babies aborted. Anytime people start making decisions on how you govern your life, how you govern your body, under the interests of the greater good, that's the denial of all objective morals, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds like a beautiful thing to people that have not had the philosophical foresight to realize the insanity of that kind of thinking. Therefore, they think these things seem reasonable. They would say, "Oh, look, it seems reasonable. There's no need to have more than 3 children." But what are you saying? That what happens when you have more children? Are you going to be killed? Are you going to be taxed? And it always leads to this Orwellian way of thinking. That kind of thinking is insane, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, granted, look, I would say, yeah, it's probably a good idea if we weren't bringing children to this world that we couldn't take care of, but I'm not going to force it. You see, that's the distinction between someone that actually believes in freedom and someone that is one of these utilitarian crazy momos that wants to force this shit on people. All right, another one. Unite humanity with a living new language, right? Let's all conform to one language. Actually, I'm not opposed to that. Like the idea of having one language to actually bring about better communication and understanding, provided we're not restricting other languages being used, right? Like you can always support ideas, but as soon as you want to force it, that's the issue. And it's also worth mentioning that one of the reasons we've had so many problems in this world is because of miscommunication. I mean, if you're familiar with the Tower of Babel story, the biblical story, which is actually taken from the ancient cuneiform writings, like if you go to the original gangster material, you realize that we actually started seeing a lot more problems within society once there was this breaking of cohesion. People were essentially speaking the same language, had good communication, and then the humans, they built this tower in order to glorify the gods, right? And bearing in mind that the biblical story speaks about Yahweh, but essentially the ancient Sumerian story speaks about a guy called Enlil, who really was a dark figure. And after he had seen the capabilities of the human race, and didn't like the fact that they were becoming more advanced, they could actually build this tower and so forth, decided to destroy the tower and genetically modify the humans so they couldn't live for these long periods of time, right? By changing the chromosomes and capping the telomeres and so forth, and essentially dispersing them into different groups so they couldn't communicate and bringing about these different languages. And this led to the miscommunication that we have in the world. All these multiple languages, which makes it more difficult for us to be communicating. And I think it's important that I think if you really want to learn to communicate, you have to learn to speak the language that someone is speaking so they can better understand you. But I would definitely say that if we all spoke the same language of love, it would be better for bringing about communication, provided we did not force this about. So, in fairness, not all the principles are bad here, but it's how they're implemented. Another one, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Well, what is that tempered reason? What is your idea of reason? Is your idea of reason based off of suspending people's freedoms to make decisions for themselves? Do you get to dictate what is tradition, what is faith, and what is passion? Because as soon as you're doing that, you have this centralized system of authority. Well, that is not cool. And see, the devil is always in the details, ladies and gentlemen. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. I'm down with that, but they need to be fair. They need to be governed. I don't advocate for... granted, if you're your own private establishment and you want to create your own laws, right? And people consent to that, down with that shit. But if you want to have one centralized authority and dictate what the law is, and it's not derived from the natural law, because most of these moments don't actually appreciate the natural law, the law of the land, right? They want to advocate for this admiralty law. Essentially, it's lawlessness. They can advocate for the suspension of your individual rights for the greater good, to say, oh, look, mate, you're not allowed to leave your home unless, of course, you've taken the boom shakalaka because, well, this is the law. It's the law. It's the law. You have the law of the land. which is based off of the natural law, which is just based, it's common sense. A 4-year-old could understand this stuff, Don't commit violence. Don't initiate violence. No force, no fraud, no theft. Don't do that which you would not want done to yourself. And then you have the collectivist system of law, which is essentially anything you want it to be for the greater good. Now, if you want to govern your international courts with that kind of law, I'm not an advocate of that, but if you want to govern them under natural law and you want to allow countries to make their own laws provided they are consensual, like you can't have some leader creating some law and saying that everyone needs to abide by this kind of stuff. If it's set up within a private organization, this is all just natural law stuff. It allows for concepts like communism, provided communes are actually able to form their own laws. But as soon as you have these communist-like momos that want to force other people to adhere to these laws and say that's in the interest of the greater good, that's when you have issues. Number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Yeah, more or less the same thing. As I'm saying, provided you have because all this comes down to whether or not the people that are advocating for these laws have a good understanding of natural laws, or whether they are beholden to entities that essentially want to make you a slave. But I think the more decentralized we can have these systems, the better. Decentralization is something that you find within nature. As soon as you have one authority saying that this is how things should be, you must all listen to the law of the chocolate Nubian soul brother. Well, actually, that would probably be a good thing, right? Because the chocolate Nubian soul brother is so wisdomatic. But you guys would all end up hating me because you probably wouldn't be in agreement with me. But if we have these decentralized systems where people can arrive at what they want, it's more decentralized, probably going to find a happier environment. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. Well, that's very subjective. What is petty? What is useless? Once again, allow people to determine what the laws are based off of their own communes and so forth, or have this more decentralized. 8, balance personal rights with social duties. Oh, that's dangerous. You see, whenever people say this, they think they're being really fair. Oh, that's fair, right? But essentially what you're advocating for is that people are beholden to the collective. So you can't do anything, right? Like you can't have your own property. You can't do anything because you have social responsibilities. You're not allowed to keep your own money because you have to give that money away to people that you have a social responsibility to do that. You're not allowed to, anything, any right is never a definitive. It all has to be measured under this social responsibility, which leads to moral relativism. You see, a philosophically rigid mind can see the insanity of that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, most momos are like, oh yeah, we got to be fair. You're not allowed to keep your money. You're not allowed to keep your body because you have a social responsibility. You have to get boom shakalaka to keep everyone safe. And that leads to the moral relativistic outlook, this solipsistic worldview that a lot of these totalitarian momos advocate for. Number 9, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. 100%. Truth, beauty. Make sure you're surrounded by beautiful momos. Love, absolutely. These are values that I think we can all hold dear. Harmony with the infinite, absolutely. But this is all just airy-fairy language. The devil is always in the details. What does that mean? I would say that truth, love, beauty all stem from the concept of natural law, unless we have justice, unless we have a society where people are not only working with respect to concern for others, but we respect their individual rights. The kind of system that you see in Star Trek, right? In the Star Trek universe, there is abundance. People have essentially what they need, but everyone has this inclination to want to bring about betterment for society, for the Federation, right? So you don't have a situation where the government forces people to do this kind of stuff. That's the kind of society that we need. And finally, number 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Once again, flowery language that I completely agree with, but it's once again how it's implemented. Be not a cancer on the earth. We are being a cancer on the earth, ladies and gentlemen, when we are not only polluting the environment through these toxic substances, but we're polluting ourselves. It all starts within. Be the change that you want to see. How you treat yourself, how you allow people to treat you, will often be represented within the macrocosm. Oh! The wisdomatic truth bomb of Chocolate Newbie and Chris Schull is deep, am I not? Deep! Diving deep once again. I feel like Infinite Orders. Going deep, ladies and gentlemen. But Let us know what you think. Let me know what you think about the Georgia Guidestones. If you approve of them being blown up, if you think what's happened is going to get a lot more people talking about this. And remember that there are 3 things that cannot remain hidden for long, right? The sun, the moon, and the truth in regards to the Georgia Guidestones. And the wisdomatic truth bombs of the chocolate Nubian soul brother. Be sure to send us your love, send us the donations, send us the cryptocurrencies, or just drop us some comments, or hit us up if you're pretty. Ow!
Like this notion of liberty, for example. What is liberty?
And I think that concept of the will is very important.
What the? Who says you can't build muscle in a vegan diet? What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
Bitcoin will not work as digital gold.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.
Everyone deserves the same chance, the same treatment, the same respect.
Soldiers for peace in a world that's flooded with war. History's littered with body scar trying to settle the score to maintain an arcade.